Bob Shaffer, coach at Truckee High School. Bob Shaffer proved to be one of the NIAA's great coaches over the course of a career directing a highly positive and structured program. He was one of 15 children born to Robert and Esther Shaffer of Greenville, Pennsylvania. He earned his teaching credential in history, physical education, and driver's education from the University of Dayton. He had a successful coaching career going in the Midwest when he got the itch to move to the mountains. And as they say at Truckee High School, the rest is history. He assumed the varsity football team's head coaching position in 1995 and proceeded to rewrite the history book. Bob served as the Wolverines' head varsity football coach for 18 years with a record of 170 victories and 32 losses, winning 14 league titles. Bob's last 4 teams won 41 consecutive games and 4 straight state titles. Please turn your attention to the video monitors for more from Bob Shaffer. So Bob Shaffer, Hall of Fame. How's that feel?
Pretty remarkable. I actually feel humbled, honored, and privileged all at the same time. Especially because of the group, as I saw the names of the people who were being inducted in this class. I felt pretty lucky to be inducted with a group that has the reputation and the renown that this group does. Well, let me say off first of all that there probably should be about 9 or 10 other guys that should be accepting this award with me that were coaches along with me. I learned real early in my career that you cannot do it by yourself. So without those other guys that along with me that I mentioned earlier, you sometimes delegate and get out of their way. Well, this was a group that I could definitely do that with, and without them, obviously the success that Truckee had would not have been possible. You know, I didn't play really any sports up until high school, and just took off from there. Kind of came from an athletic family. My dad was a football coach, and I remember when I was young, going to football practices with him and running 40-yard sprints with the seniors and juniors when I was probably like first, second grade. Got the fever then and just never stopped.
And you started out in a football hotbed of Ohio. How'd you end up in Truckee, California?
It's a long story, so I'm not going to make it real long, but I was actually on my way down to Las Vegas to take a head history teaching job. They were opening up 4 new high schools down there at the time in 1990, and I was selected to be one of the head coaches. I've never been to Las Vegas, so I resigned back in Ohio, went down there sight unseen, and I had a brother that lived in Truckee, so we drove out here, visited him, and my wife and I flew down to Vegas, and it was like 114 all 3 days we were down there, and that wasn't for us, coming from where we came from. So we came back to Truckee and stayed with my brother John for about a week, and he offered me a job on his paving company, and 2 years later I got hired at Truckee, so it's been a dream world since.
Wow, and you guys were feared in what AA turned into AAA. the Wolverines were what everybody tried to match and tried to defeat. How did you build such a program and keep it?
Well, let me take a step back on that. I think the only reason why that happened was because of the coaches that I surrounded myself with. I was very fortunate to find the right kind of guys that were committed, not just interested, but committed to what we were going to try to do. And I remember back when I was being interviewed for the head coaching job in 1994, someone on the interview committee asked or stated to me that they were looking for somebody that was going to win and win right now. And they asked if I could do that. And I told them, nope, I'm not that guy. They kind of looked at me kind of hesitantly and said, what do you mean by that? I said, well, I'm not here to win right now. I'm here to win from now on. To me, now kind of sounded like it was a short term and it was maybe at any cost. And I was looking at it more from a long-term point of view, and I wanted to make sure it was being done the right way. So from that standpoint, I think we were in the right place. Had the athletes drink the Kool-Aid, so to speak, of what we were preaching and teaching, and a lot of hard work and investment by a lot of people, and had some great results because of it. We've won with some teams that had some really good talent, and I think that's one of the things that we as a coaching staff always talked about was how we were going to be gauged or judged when we eventually retired. And one of the things we always talked about was that every school has a class of great athletes that comes through and makes you look pretty good, as long as you stay out of the way and you don't screw them up. But I think we believed that we were going to be judged on how we did with those classes that came before and after those group of kids graduated. And I think long term, we've had a lot of student athletes who didn't pass the eye test. By that meaning that they aren't the biggest, the fastest kids when they get out there. As a matter of fact, we had some teams when we went to our first away game, we thought about going off the bus with our shoulder pads and helmets on because we didn't want the other team to see how small we really were. And I've had several coaches after we played them in games shake our kids' hands and shake our hands as they came across. And I remember Jeff Knudsen was one of them, and he came up to me and he said, "How do you win with those kids? You play so much bigger on film than what you actually look like in reality." So I think there's a lot of kids that overachieve, and we were allowed. Somehow we managed to keep that success going. And
you were a California school and a Nevada association. We can't let you go. We know that people didn't like it when you guys won, did they?
No, as a matter of fact, that might have been a little bit of surprise why I'm here today. Just thinking of the fact that here we are representing the school from California, here being inducted into the Nevada Interscholastic Athletic Association. And there was a few rumbles there for a while. And fortunately, the NIAA really stuck with us and helped us get through that ruffled time. And we're here, and we enjoyed every minute of it.
Well, we always give people a chance to thank those who helped them get here. What do you want to think?
Hopefully I don't have to narrow it down just to one. I think I'm going to start off with thanking my parents, my mom and dad. Being one of 15 children, were great role models for all of us as we grew up, and probably helped all of us become the men and women that we are today. My dad was a big believer that if you started something, it was worth finishing. If it's worth finishing, you might as well do it and do it well, and do it well all the time. So I really learned a lot of things from him. He's been my role model, so to speak, from a father figure and a parent. And I probably couldn't have had a better dad as far as a role model. Secondly, I obviously had some great coaches that I want to thank that helped me along. I had the opportunity to watch my 3 sons come through the program and become part of something really special. I want to thank my brother Mark, who is going to be at the banquet. He's flying in from Ohio. He had some setbacks in his life that he has continued to overcome, and whether he knows it or not, he's been a pillar for me, having my own issues. I look back and respect all the things he's doing, and I want to thank him for that. And then last but not least, I want to thank my wife and family for allowing me to continue to play at the sport that I've always enjoyed doing, and giving me their best efforts at all times. After 41 years, my wife probably should be canonized a saint, sticking with me. It's kind of different now that I'm retired, because all those other years people would ask, what's the secret of your longevity? And I always told them we're still dating, because we're still kind of finding time to get together and be together. Now that I'm retired, it's kind of nice being able to spend weekends together and actually have conversations where we're both talking to each other, and she's not talking, and I'm going, yeah, sure, whatever you say. Meanwhile, I'm drawing plays on a sheet of paper or a napkin or wherever we have to be. And I can't speak for her, but I know this new chapter in my life is really enjoying it, and hopefully we have a lot of years together.